Welcome to The Art Box, your podcast dedicated to exploring the vibrant art scene in Nevada and beyond. Join us as we embark on a journey through galleries, theaters, studios, public lands, and streetscapes, meeting the artists, curators, archaeologists, nature lovers, and cultural influencers who shape our creative community and our world. Whether you're looking for your next cultural adventure, seeking inspiration for your own artistic pursuits, or simply curious about the world of art, tune into The Art Box. Together, let's open up a world of creativity and imagination. Let's dive in.
Dreams, what if the night is about you and me? So lift your head up to the sky.
Tiffany and
Yori, Ludvigson.
And I got you both here today. Thank you very much. I got to see Yori coaching football when we first moved here. Very good football coach, very good team.
We had a good time, yeah. Good kids, good staff, good place to hang out.
Yeah, and I met Tiffany because you bring kids here for drone classes.
I do. Well, really, we come every Thursday with a group of our SPED students from Virgin Valley High School, and they do all sorts of things here.
So, yes, so you bring the kids here, and I thought,
I'm bringing the kids here. And we have done drones, and they love drones. And I love everything they do because you never know when something's going to turn into a job for them later on. For instance, the drones they use now in fighting fires, which I thought was an interesting fact, and something that, who knows, maybe that'll be something that one of them, can do in the future.
What got you into teaching?
I went back to school a little bit older, I guess. My husband teases me about being old now. It's not very nice. But I just wanted to make a difference in the community, and I loved teachers in general. And I thought, if I want to be like someone, I want to be like a teacher. And so I went back to school to be a teacher, I think just to better myself and hopefully help in the community.
So what got you into special education?
I love working with students. The students, I love to see their growth and their success, and it makes me very happy. So I keep coming. I keep coming back. I keep doing it because I enjoy it so much.
Yeah, and it's nice. I think you guys are the only CCSD group that comes here during school hours.
That's unfortunate. I think every school should have a group that comes to the STEAM Center. Is remarkable. I can't believe everything that is done here and all the things my students have learned and have been able to do, from building robots to learning about fossils to making toothpaste. I mean, just all sorts of really fun,
I've seen the toothpaste stuff.
Learning activities.
Can you walk us through a typical day in your classroom?
Not really, because no day is ever typical. We laugh about that all the time because we always have these three, sometimes the kids are in good moods and sometimes they're not. And anyway, things just happen that throw off our schedule a little bit. But one of my class I love, I teach 2 classes of life skills with a focus on culinary arts. And it's fantastic because, I print off a recipe. We read the whole recipe, so they're reading the directions, instructions. They're making sure we have all the equipment that we need to make it. Then they help make it, and then they get to eat it, which, they love. But in the meantime, they're doing reading, and they're loving it. They don't even know they're working on these skills,
that's,
right?
Yeah, so you
Fractions and math.
So, and today we had a recipe for one chocolate banana smoothie. And I said, we have a problem. We only have enough for one. It's a good thing we read the directions so we know that this only makes enough smoothie for one person. How are we going to fix it? And one student said, well, we can make it 5 times. I'm like, well, that's one solution. You're right. We could do that. Can you come up with another solution? So we problem solve in that class as well. But we kind of hit all, the math and the reading and following directions and all of that in one class. Plus, it's really fun because they get to eat, and everybody learns better when they're fed.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a benefit nobody else has there, right?
Yeah.
We have a culinary program, too. But
for those, sure. Yeah. That's just my small SPED class.
And they make everything. I mean, it's amazing what they make.
We make some fun things.
Now, the culinary program? Not general student
Not
population?
a lot. Now and then they'll do like a little fundraiser, mac and cheese balls, and sell them or stuff, but not a ton.
But she's really good. She's a great
They help
teacher.
with like the fundraisers, like we did. We sold 1,400 poly plates pulled pork, mac salad, stuff like that.
Okay.
So a ton of those a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah.
A month ago.
All
And
the mac
they made all the mac
salad.
salad, cooked all the rice for that. We just had that,
They were very
the
helpful.
fundraising group for the scholarships, and they cooked hundreds of cookies and all kinds of stuff for that. So they get involved.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
Because
good.
I don't believe there was any culinary when I.
Probably not. I think
that's
Yori
cool.
helped.
We brought Chef Noonan. Eureka donated a ton and helped us start that in 2015, I think.
Of course, there's jobs here for culinary.
Big time, yeah. Yeah, we've had a lot of
Hotels.
kids go work.
Oh, have you
In
really?
Gregory's, Catherine's, yeah, it's been neat.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fabulous.
yeah, it's cool.
Do they go as interns?
So Eureka, we do an intern. So we got a bunch of kids working right now, and so their senior year in January, their senior year, they hire them as paid interns, right? And they pay them a good wage, and so they take them and they work in 3 different areas. So they work in the hotel for part of that, they work in the culinary, the food service side of that for a while, and then HR and stuff. So it gives those kids experience in all kind of 3 industries there. So they work right on the line, serving, doing dishes, hosting, whatever, on the hotel end, from cleaning rooms to supervising pools to checking people in. So it's a great program with Eureka. And then the last year we did that when I was here, we had 19 kids in that program, and they kept 16 of them after they graduated full time, stayed there and worked.
Okay, that was my next
Yeah.
question, really.
Yeah. So a ton of them, you know. So Eureka's good. They're like, hey, if it works good for you at the end and good for us, we'll hire.
Yeah, so Eureka, it works out for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and then you got kids who are staying here.
Yeah, right. Primex, same thing. We got some kids working at Primex. Full time. This Carlos is 8 hours a day at Primex and goes to school full time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a bunch. We got a lot of kids that are working, Do It Best, and different things like that. And they'll do kind of some paid interns through the school with us, which is awesome.
Mesquite is a great community to have our students working because most businesses are really willing to work with our students and train them, help them get
Yeah, it's been neat.
Yeah, that's good. It's a great community anyway.
Yeah.
Just the kids are always nice. Well, I volunteered at Eureka,
Shriek Creek, yeah.
and all the
Shriek
kids
Creek.
were like, "Yes, sir.
That's good.
Yes, ma'am," and they were all so nice. And I'm like, God, where am I? Where did I move to?
Yeah, that's good.
How great is
That's
this?
neat. It is
have
cool.
good students.
So for your classes, Tiffany, do you don't have the same kids all day? So they also move?
Just a little bit. I mean, we have a lot of the same students a lot of the day, but the ones that can benefit from a little bit of a schedule and having more of an experience a gen ed student would, it's good for them. It's good for them to be able to do some of the same things that our gen ed students can do. So if we can rotate them a little bit, we can. If it's too stressful or causes too much anxiety, then we don't. But all of our special education teachers are, well, I told Mr. Wade, I'm like, we have a dream team. We have such a good staff right now. You can't get anybody better than Travis Griffiths.
And how many of you are there?
Oh, there's a few. There's quite a few. Teachers or
Special ed teachers?
special ed teachers. So we have in resource, I know that's why I was afraid of
And then you
I
have
said
some
it out
aides
loud.
and
I would
staff
miss-
too, right?
I would miss them.
And they
Yeah.
go like,
We
because
do
you have a
have
PE class,
7,
so she'll teach PE
7.
one period, and they'll go walk and,
It's
participate in
great. We
PE
take
and all
a big
kinds of
group
stuff.
to the walking PE class, and even though a couple are in wheelchairs, we just walk them around the gym. But it gets them outside
Oh, that's great.
and
They
gets
love
them a
it,
little
yeah.
sunshine, and it's good for them to be outside. And we do have an adaptive PE teacher that comes and will play games with them sometimes. But just playing basketball with a couple of them that I had no idea could play basketball, and the one student shot like 5. Made 5 baskets
Oh,
right
really?
in a row, and I was like, "Wait, what are you doing? This is awesome!" So it was a good time. And then I have another one who loves to throw the football, not correctly, but that's okay. We play catch, and that's a good time.
Yeah,
too.
that's fabulous.
We have a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Do you do general education at all, or?
I did at Dixie High School in Utah, where I co-taught in quite a few classes and taught a resource class, which we called Mild and Mod in Utah, of 20, 25 students. I taught English.
And they
But
go teach some here, though.
And, yeah,
Some of the teachers will
resource teachers do collaborate with the general ed teachers.
teach a class together.
And they work really well together in that when they're trying to decide a grade, they look at what goals they're working on in special education, what goals they're working on in the classroom, and how well have they been working with whatever disability that is their challenge. So our teachers are wonderful to work with, the SPED staff as well. And we have wonderful aides that go in and pull those students out too, so they get extra help. And when they test, they get pulled out so they're not in this huge classroom that can be a little bit overwhelming for them, but they have a smaller area that's more relaxing, a little bit quieter, that they have a little more time, less pressure to take their tests. So it's a good accommodation also.
Do you get any of the general ed students to come and help out?
So we have had general ed students say, hey, can we come with one of those teachers and get a little extra help? I'm really not getting it. And they do. And they come out, and our assistants are fabulous to help whoever needs help. But the focus is on special education students.
Oh.
But yeah, they're very helpful.
Yeah, it's good. I told you that my wife did that in Denver.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I decided I would talk to you, because you kind of know what we go through.
And when we moved out there first, it was kind of funny. Our youngest son, he had just got out of school. He came out there and he got 2 weeks off, and he was back in school because it was year-round school he was in. But the good thing for him, and he ended up liking it. My wife, when he was out of school, they were in school all the time, the kids that she had. So he would come and he'd spend his vacations helping her there, and the school district allowed it and everything. It was really kind of nice. I know he had a good time.
That's fabulous.
Can you share a moment when you saw a breakthrough with a student?
You know, at Dixie High School, I had a student who, was trying to make just a tiny bit of a scene at least. She was being a little loud, and she came right up to the desk and she said, "We're in here because we're stupid, aren't we?" And I was taken back, and I thought, how am I going to answer this question? And I just said, you know what? You're not in here because you're stupid. You're in here because you have more challenges than most people. And that's okay. And we're going to help you in any way we can. And she calmed down, and she was like, oh, okay. And she ended up being a really good student in my class and doing really well. But I think she had to change that mindset of, oh, I'm not smart, to, oh, I have a challenge, and that's okay. I can overcome this.
Well, that was a great breakthrough, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Do you have students that you become friends with? I know, as I coach football and ice hockey, there's some kids that stuck with me. Actually, I'm 73, and I got players now, they're in their 60s, and they still call me coach, and I love it. But there's some, do you have any students that have really stuck with you and maybe you've kept up with through the years?
I have, and I actually haven't been a SPED teacher for all that long, but a particularly difficult student asked me for a resume, just to help her with a resume and a letter of recommendation because she wanted to attend college. And she graduated a little bit early, which was really pleasant, but also one of those oppositionally defiant students that most students didn't want to work with. I mean, students didn't want to work with her. Most teachers didn't want to work with her because she was so defiant. But I found that if I gave her options, she was much more willing to work. I think I was one of the few teachers that she liked, which I was really grateful for. But she ended up being successful, and most teachers thought that would never happen. So I was very pleased with her efforts, and I'm like, just keep trying. Just keep doing. She had lots of things to work through, and she did. So she had some major challenges, but that oppositionally defiant students, they're tough sometimes, and I was really glad she came around and asked for a little bit of help. That's huge for them because they don't like to ask for help.
Yeah, I guess that makes it all worthwhile.
Right.
Yeah, we had a kid the other day, I can't remember where we were at, and this guy stopped and was like, "Are you Tiffany Ludvigson?" And she's like, I'm like, yeah. And he's like, "My younger brother had your class. You changed his life." He still talks about you. He loved you, and that stuff, as a coach, when you hit your kids, that was pretty neat.
Yeah. That would make you cry.
I know. I kind of got teary. Not going to lie.
Wow, that's fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, kids and people are just great.
They are.
So,
yes, I become friends with almost all of them. Not almost. I become friends with all of them. They're fun, and we miss them when they're gone. And we love the little quirks. I say we because we have a good team, and we laugh when we have a student that we were having a hard time getting to laugh. Like, we'd never heard him laugh, and it had been weeks. And the student's a nonverbal student, and so we were trying really hard just to get this kid to laugh. You know, we could get him to smile finally, you know, and we knew a couple things that worked to make him happy, but they don't, because he can't say anything. And nonverbal's not a great word. He just doesn't communicate. He communicates in other ways. But anyway, we could get him to laugh, and that that made our day, you know. We take the little things, and it makes us happy.
How about, has there, like, teaching strategies or technologies that's evolved that's made not necessarily your job easier? Okay, we'll say your job easier, but helps the kids along a little bit more.
So many advances. There's so many advances. I really enjoy artificial intelligence in that I can say, you know, of course I don't use any personal information, but I say, I have a student that needs such and such and such and such. Please give me ideas for accommodations and manipulatives. Maybe that would help with motor skills, or, you know, whatever the scenario might be. And instantly I have resources of pages of things that pop up that I can use. And then we're learning about a new program at the high school that will help with all of their English. And so we're just learning about it, but we're going to implement it next year. And it's really going to help them because it can change the font, it will read out loud to them, it can highlight for the student, it can change the whole page. So sometimes students with dyslexia, sometimes like a red page will help them read better, just the words pop better for them. So you can change the page color to whatever color helps you. Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really great program.
You know, it's since we've been doing this for the last almost 3 years now, it's interesting that initially people never wanted to talk about AI, you know, or they didn't want to admit.
Well, I was hesitant, just a little bit.
I think
there
it's
are
amazing
people,
what
but
they
it
can
is
do.
amazing, and it's a fabulous resource. Fabulous resource.
Yeah, it's a tool.
It's a tool, exactly. And if used correctly,
it doesn't do everything for you.
No, and it gets things wrong all the time. You still have to correct it, and even if it gives us ideas, they're just ideas. I know the student obviously better than the computer, and so I take those ideas and tweak it to that particular student.
What keeps you motivated on hard days, assuming that there's hard days?
Oh, there are hard days.
Are there?
Definitely hard days. There are days that you go home and instead of having a success, maybe there was a setback or a failure or something that didn't happen that you were really hoping, and maybe a goal wasn't met like you thought it was going to be. You know, like I tell my students, today's going to be bad, tomorrow might be worse, but the day after will be rainbows and sunshine. So you just have to work through it, and eventually it's going to get better.
You love going to work?
I do. Yeah, I really do.
Yori, you love going to work?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it if I, you know what I mean? If I didn't, I really do enjoy it. It's fun.
I know what you mean.
Been there, yeah.
My kids made fun of me. There goes Dad. He's happy to go to work.
Yeah.
He's always happy to go to work.
Yeah.
And it's lucky.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I made my own luck.
Find something. Yeah, you find something.
Well, and
you
don't get me wrong. I really like vacations too.
Well, yeah.
I have a day off. I'm like, okay, that's sweet. This is awesome. But yeah, I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the trick for the kids. I didn't think much about it when I was in high school, but was I looking forward to go to work? You know, because I worked at McDonald's, and I did look forward to go to work at McDonald's when I was in high school. It's because we goofed off all the time. My one bad or horrible question for you, or stupid question, what's your go-to snack on a road trip?
Oh, go-to snack on a road trip? Anything chocolate. Those chocolate-covered coconut bars. Yori loves cashews. That's probably his go-to. He loves cashews.
Yeah, I like
we always
nuts,
have
yeah.
cashews.
Okay, is there anything else you want to talk about? Your teaching.
Yes, I do have a wall that Mr. Roylance.
How did I miss this? This is why we're talking today.
That's all right. Mr. Roylance was fantastic. And his students came in, and we had a projector, and they drew leaves on my wall. And I've really been trying hard to make I always say rooms, basically, because I have a big room, but it's kind of divided, to make them welcoming for students, because happy students don't hit teachers, and we don't want to get hit. We want to keep everybody calm and very happy, and just have this welcoming atmosphere. So I've been able to do a few things since I started, but I would love to have those leaves maybe painted, or maybe a little more art in the room, so it just feels more welcoming instead of sterile. It's not sterile, but you get the idea. I just want it to be very calming and inviting. And so if somebody wants to volunteer.
Oh, so you're still looking for somebody to do that?
I'm still looking for someone to help with that if they want to. I get it. It's kind of hard, and it takes time, and they might have to come after hours, which is tough.
Well, we should find people to do that.
But if they can, that would be great. And if they can't, that's all right. The leaves still look cute.
Hi everyone, it's Addie, your favorite Artbox research assistant from Down Under, popping in for a quick note. If any of our listeners are interested in lending a hand to help paint the mural in Tiffany's classroom, she'd love to hear from you. Her email is listed in the show notes. Tiffany and Yori, I'm really enjoying your conversation with Steve. Tiffany, thank you for all the incredible work you do for the students and families in your valley. And Yori, any chance I can convince Steve to ship one of your delicious sandwiches to Australia? Okay, I'll zip it now and let you three get back to the chat.
You want to talk about barbecues?
Oh, you should totally talk about barbecue. We have Big Lud's barbecue sitting right here. If you miss that opportunity, it is a missed opportunity.
Okay, because what you told me, Tiffany, is that making barbecue is an art.
It is an art. You should see him cook, and you should see him when he goes out to the smoker and he he opens the door and he just smells it and he pulls out one of those pork butts and he's like, look at this beauty. Smell this. It smells so good.
How do you guys find time? You both work full-time jobs.
Oh, we have 3 full-time jobs. We don't sleep, so it makes it easier. Yeah.
Well, there'll be time to sleep.
Yeah, right. That's what I say. Yeah, and we get to do that. We have a daughter that smokes with us and stuff.
Okay.
Son-in-laws, daughters all help out, especially on Big. We just fed 1,100 people Friday night, and so we get all the kids involved in that. You know what I mean? But we feed a crazy amount of people. I mean,
how much work to feed 1,100 people?
So that was just Friday. I think that week, I don't even know. We did 1,200 Tuesday in 3 different groups, but had 4 or 5 weddings that Saturday. It's crazy. I was joking with my daughter. We were pulling stuff out of the smoker. You know what I mean? We got some big smokers. We got one on trailer we can do about 1,000 pounds in. And then our food truck, we got a big rotisserie smoker in that. We can do about 750, 800 pounds. And then 2 others we can do about 300 pounds or so in. So we can smoke. We got a lot of room. Well, I was teasing my daughter, said, holy cow, we smoked 1,000 pounds. You know what I mean? It seemed like, or a ton. I said, man, we smoked a ton. And she goes, yeah, I was just looking at the invoice from the trailer. We actually did 2,136 pounds this week.
Wow.
And that was 2 weeks ago, I think. So, yeah, literally we smoked a ton of meat in 3 or 4 days.
So when you say a ton,
3 or 4 days, yeah.
We always say,
it's crazy.
That was a ton of food I ate. No.
We did 96 briskets in 3 days a couple weeks ago. I mean, it's crazy what we do.
He has a couple rec techs, but one of the rec tech, this is an advertisement for rec tech, but I was just thinking he's in the top. Do you remember what it was last time you checked?
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I'd called rec tech. I had a little small problem that, you know what I mean, whatever, so they were walking me through it to fix it. And they track your stuff because it's online now, your phone, so you can adjust your temperature. And he goes, oh, man, you're in our top 30 worldwide. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. He goes, you have over 6,000 hours of smoking hours just on that one smoker. And I said, oh, yeah, you're probably right. No.
That's, that's just.
So anyway, he was like, that's impressive. That's a lot of hours. And he goes, then he looked and he's like, oh, you've only had that for like 2.5 years. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't had that one very long. He goes, we got guys that have had them for 10, 15 years that haven't touched what you're.
Wow.
So he goes, for that many years, what you're doing, he says, you got to be like the top 5, you know. Anyway, we smoke a lot of meat and sides and, you know, but we enjoy it. We started competing, I think 20 years. I think 03 was our first time. So over 20 years going and competing at stuff, barbecue competitions, which was a lot of fun.
He says we, he really means
him.
I.
No, I had some buddies that come with and stuff.
Not me.
Sydney came and
Well,
J. Dale Wilson,
no,
who's
I
the
mean,
principal
it
here at the
takes
middle
a
school,
team, but-
came, and
but
Steve Burr. So we'd have guys that would
artist.
would
Yeah, he's
would
the artist.
come. But we had guys that would come, and that's fun because you smoke all night long. So you'll get there that night and smoke all day, and then they compete in brisket, ribs, pork butts, and chicken. And so my favorite part's about 2 a.m. Then we'd always try to cook some fillets and some queso. So we're sitting there at 2, 3 in the morning eating homemade queso and big old fat fillet that's 3 inches thick, and that's a good day. So you don't sleep; you just smoke all night.
So that's the bonus.
Yeah, that's the
That
bonus. You get to eat good food. And so we did that for a long time, and got doing a lot of whole hogs and stuff when I was younger and coaching at North Sanpete back in the day. Vern Alkawala and all these guys. That's the first time I'd ever saw a pig. Probably 1996, and we were doing a pig in the ground to feed the football team, and I'm like, and these big poly boys, and they're wrapping turkeys and throwing them in there, and all just anything that was around, you know what I mean? They were throwing in that pit, and that was amazing. We pulled that out the next day, and I'm like, oh, dude. Then when we were in Diamond Valley, we had 2 pits in our backyard.
Yeah,
So
he dug big old pits in our backyard.
We've done a lot of whole
Rock
hogs.
and-
We do a lot on the smoker. I got a big smoker now. I can do 2 pigs, like full-size pigs on that. So we do a lot of luau's whole hogs, where we'll bring the whole hogs and lays
I got to
and
start
decorations.
finding out where you
and,
guys are at.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
So where'd you
good.
do that?
when I was little, I got 2 brothers who grew up in a little town, Sterling, in the middle of Utah, right? And so we grew up hunting and fishing, all that stuff. We bought a little Chief smoker when we were probably 5 or 6 years old from IFA. Yeah, little bitty kids. And we just started trying to
He
smoke
hadn't
it.
met you yet.
Not yet.
No, not quite, right? And we just started smoking stuff. Fish would smoke it, and
Yeah.
it was just a little electric plug-in. Then we bought a big Chief after a couple years. Muskrat doesn't smoke up very good, you know what I mean? So we trapped those, tried that, skinned out muskrat. But I don't know, we just started when we were young smoking stuff, and then kind of build an offset, kind of built one.
And in other
Yeah.
words, he's self-taught. That's the short
Yeah, there you
answer.
go.
Is he's self-taught.
Yeah, we
But he
just kind of
did,
figured it out. I don't know.
work at a restaurant during high school. And
Yeah, I learned how to cook steaks and
that's
stuff.
where
That
he
was
learned
good.
the shrimp and lobster and
Yeah,
those things.
anyway.
good.
Well, yeah, I
skills
just
to
figured
have.
I used to buy banana leaves, those big, they're long.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to buy those to put underneath my brisket because I couldn't control my fire, and I'd burn up my brisket. So I'd sit the brisket on those, and then I'd have a little fire barrier till I learned
Now,
what I
was
was
something
doing.
you figured out?
Yeah, I just, they had enough moisture they could take a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Because then you didn't have all your pellet-driven, you're building a fire, tending fire, and if it gets hot, it burns your meat pretty fast. And so while I was learning that, I'd frustrated because I didn't want to waste meat. And so, but that worked pretty good for a while, and then you learn, you figure it out. Because my wife bought me a thermometer.
Now the smoker is almost.
Oh, it's cheap now. It's nice, but it's, technology,
But
right?
You still have to know.
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
you're
well, there you go.
Yeah, but she'd bought me, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, bought me a thermometer, one of those instant pins, thermometer. It's called all birthday. She gives me great presents, but it's usually a year or 2 before I ever use them.
true.
And then I love them, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, why don't you use that? And I'm like, well, I can just grab that butt. I know what temp. I know when it's done. Those brisket, I, give it a little jiggle test and fill it. And yeah, that's done. Oh, that needs a little longer. And so she'd make fun of me. And then we started using that. And, now we probably got 4 of them. And, we use it all the time, to make sure we're where we want to
Did you
be.
tell her thank you?
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I'm
a
late
year
in the game. Yeah.
A year late?
I'm late in the game. She got me a nice pair of shoes the other day. I'm getting ready to wear pretty soon now. They're about a
It's
year
been
old.
months, and
So-
he's not touched them.
But I'm getting ready. They're almost a year old. So
Beef slicer at
I'll wear
least
'em.
a year, maybe 2. And then he was like, "Why haven't I been using this my whole life?" I'm like, I have no idea.
I forget I even have it. But it has been fun. The catering's out of control. I mean, it's crazy. We feed, and then we close when it gets hot. It's like last year we closed July and August and got out of here and went on vacation and kind of enjoyed our kids and stuff. We're taking all of our kids to Costa Rica June for 2 weeks.
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, so we're crazy busy from President's Day till it gets really hot, and then September through Christmas we're crazy busy. January we take off, start again about President's Day. So you kind of got breaks, but in those fall and spring, there's not much sleep. I mean,
Well, you guys are busy.
we're busy. We get done smoking. Depends on how much you're doing, but 10, 11, 11:30, whatever. Sometimes later if you got a whole bunch, and back at 5:30 to start
And then off to
putting on
school.
ribs and
Yeah.
wrap. Yeah, and then head about 6 to.
What do you do if you're?
down
Can you
here.
leave it, or does your daughter take care of that one?
Yep. So then Sydney will roll in. Yep, and she's great help and
Sydney's amazing.
Paul and her. Yeah, that little girl's figured it out
Taught her well, and she's
She's figured it out.
So she's figured.
So
a
now
lot
it's kind of a
things out.
family business.
for sure. It is. Yeah, because it's hard to. That's the hard part. They're like, well, just smoke more, but I can't teach you how to smoke in an afternoon. You know what I mean? It really does take
Takes a long
years
time.
to figure out what it feels like and when it's done, and why you're putting the flat on this end, or how to rotate it, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And she has figured it out fast. I mean, she is really. I mean, she's good. Here's a little bragging story on daughter, right? So we're feeding 500 people in the middle of nowhere out on the rim of the Grand Canyon, and so we're feeding them every meal for 3 days.
Every meal.
Every meal,
So you do
breakfast, lunch, and
breakfast,
dinner.
too.
And it's 3 hours away from St. George. So we're driving, hauling out there 3 hours. So she's home smoking.
Oh, so you're not. You go out there.
Yeah.
You're not staying out there. I thought you'd take
So,
the smoker
so
out there with you.
no, we're smoking there because it's too big for 500 people. Holy cow, I would have had to haul trailers, right? So she's home smoking with Paul and Trudy and stuff, smoking stuff. I'd take our big warming boxes out and grill feed them breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then leave, get back at midnight, right? Pull stuff off the smoker, get there. So I didn't sleep for 3 days,
We
literally.
don't do that very often.
Literally
This is kind of
3
rare.
days. And they're smoked it all, right? So then I'm heading back out. So the last dinner, I had Tiffany and Sydney come with just because I wanted to see them, because they've been home working all the time while I'm driving back and forth. And she comes with, and she's sitting over there, and these old boys are coming over, and I'm from Texas, and that's the best brisket I've ever
yeah,
had. You know what I mean? They're
okay.
bragging it up. Oh, Big Lud, I want to shake your hand. That's the best ribs. That's the best. And so there are about 20, 30 guys, these old boys that smoke, saying how great it is, and oh my heck, I don't know how you do that and all this stuff. And my daughter's sitting there listening. Sydney, who had smoked everything we'd been eating, because I'd just been out there serving and running, right? And so finally, I'm like, hey, thanks, I appreciate it. It does take a lot of time, but I said, to be honest, everything you ate was smoked by my daughter, Sydney. And she's a little bitty 5'0", little blonde-haired kid. I mean, there's this little, 23, 24-year-old girl over there. And I'm like, she smoked everything you ate. And they look at her and was like, she smoked all of them. I'm like, yeah, she did everything.
Well, they couldn't take it back.
No, that was the funny part.
it back.
The
That
funny
was the
part is
best
then they were like, oh, yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, she did a good job.
Good.
Yeah, that was the best part is her trap, man.
It was awesome. That was a good
She
day
does a
for
good
her.
job.
Great job.
Yeah, she's really figured it out fast. I mean, it's been a few years, but she's figured it out.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you guys have a fun life.
We got a great life. I mean, I can't. Yeah, and that's kind of the reason that I went back teaching. And kind of we teach is because then our summers are off, so we can close down the barbecue. We can go to, vacation and just kind of disappear for a while, which is nice, and be able to do that with our kids. And so we try to do that. My goal next year is to not be in Mesquite or St. George more than 3 days in the summer. So my wife says she needs downtime, but
I
I'm like,
need a little downtime.
That's
I'm like,
Costa Rica,
way
man.
too
You're
long to
down.
be gone. I've got to be home a few days.
So anyway, it's a good. We're busy. We don't sleep a lot, but I've never slept a lot, so it's
Sleep a little more.
good.
I need some sleep, but he's like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps going and going and going.
It's good,
Like I say, there'll be time to sleep later.
right?
It's time to enjoy life now.
Yeah.
So, Tiffany, if you wanted to really cook something that you didn't know much about, would you go to AI and ask it, or would you go to Yori and ask?
Well, I can bake better
Or
than
you
Yori.
don't have to tell me if you don't want to.
It depends on what it is. I did steak for my special ed students, and they raved
Oh, that was
about
cute.
it. It was so fun, but Yori was very kind and gave us some from, what were you trimming? Prime rib.
Prime rib and
rib.
fillets for
Yeah, so
catering.
they
We
were
cooked a
just
bunch in
little
front of
2 by
people.
3-inch pieces, but I did pretty good, and they loved them. But Yori showed me a few things.
I helped bring the kids over to the steam center the other day, right? So the kid was riding shotgun with me, and we're driving over, and then he realized that was my wife, and he's like, wait a minute, you're Tiffany's husband? And I said, yeah. And he goes, I promised I would give you a high five the first time I met you. You fed us steak, and they were the best steaks I've ever, ate in my life. And so I gave him a high five, and he was pretty excited. But yeah, she bakes better than me. Here's the sad part. We have amazing baked beans, and people go crazy over them. Like I would drive, 100 miles to eat the baked beans. She still makes them better than I do. Yeah.
It's the only thing I make.
Her baked beans are better than mine. Right? I know she's
Maybe
hiding
cookies,
something. Like, I
but-
don't know what she's not telling me.
You're going to share the recipe?
Yeah, she hides something, dude. She tells me the recipe, but I know she's holding back. So hers are better than mine every time. Mine are
Tries to doctor them up to.
mine are stupid good,
very
but
simple. So.
hers are
That's it.
better. I
Yeah,
think.
there's nothing better than having some really good baked beans.
Oh, dude, they're good too. I mean, it's a good.
And you do pulled pork?
Yeah, we do a ton of pulled pork, brisket, all that kind of turkey. I love turkey.
Prime rib, he did steaks for a group just the other day.
Yeah, did a bunch of prime ribs last week, and yeah, it's how do you beat that, right? I'm just a fat guy that likes to eat, so I got to cook to eat. That's how that all
Yeah, well,
starts.
it's special doing that.
We feed the schools a lot. We feed a lot of teachers and kind of hook them up. Do a
Yori
deal.
loves, I think feeding people is his calling in life because every time we have a spare minute, he's like, hey, we can do breakfast for the teachers today.
Yeah, we fed them breakfast burritos the other day.
Oh, did ya?
Made breakfast burritos.
Which is great because
Doing
then
queso Monday for them. So they
I have things for my class too because then he's like, okay, we have a few extra tortillas and a few extra eggs. I'm like, I'll take those, thank you. And
yeah.
then
So
we can use
teachers are amazing people. You know what I mean? Anybody that goes through that on purpose, you know what I mean? So we did breakfast casseroles for the middle school teachers the other day, took them big pans of that. And so we tried to feed, the teachers. They like me around just because we feed them. So it's worth it.
It took me till high school to really understand that because we would sneak into bars before and my teachers were there. I ended up, some of them, such really good friends.
That's cool. Yeah.
And they're like, wait a minute, you're not, because we was in Maryland, you had to be 21. You're not 21. I say, shh. Don't tell the bartender he thinks I am.
That's awesome.
So if you could create one dish that symbolizes
Oh, man.
Big Lud's barbecue, what would it be? And it can include
we did
baked beans.
might be
We
the
did
Sasquatch.
So we make a Sasquatch sandwich, right? It's called the Sasquatch, and it has. So we made it. We had this eating competition guy came, Model versus Food. He's called. He's millions of viewers, right? So he called us up, and says, "Hey, I want to come and eat at your trailer." And put it on my YouTube and stuff. And,
Oh, yeah.
And so I said, hey, we'll make you a sandwich. We do a Sasquatch sandwich. Obviously, we'll make it bigger. And so we had a big old 10-inch bun, and we put brisket. So we put 2 pounds of brisket, right? One guy's eating it. He said he could eat about 10 pounds. It's kind of his max, which is crazy. So we did about 2.5 pounds of brisket, pulled pork, a full rack of ribs, chicken. So we did 2 chicken breasts, hot links. We have great hot links. Bunch of hot links on top of there, smoked mac and cheese, and what else we put on that Sasquatch? Some kind of cold slaw. Well, I didn't think of the bun.
Oh, yeah, you got to have the cold.
Yeah, you got to have a little slaw to wet everything
Yeah.
down, right? And then barbecue sauce, right? So we make this sandwich, and it's a foot high and a foot wide, and the guy comes in, and he's like, and we got a big crowd there, and they're filming, he's like, there's no way that's 10 pounds. And I'm like, bro, that's 10 pounds. You know what I mean? And he weighs it, and it's like 13. And I'm like, what the crap did I do wrong?
You can do it.
I didn't count the bun.
problem.
You know what I mean? I just counted the meat and what I was putting on, which was like 10. So the stupid buns, and he's like, I might not be able to eat the bun. I'm like, that's all right. Do whatever you got to do. He ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how.
Sodas or
Oh, he sat and drank like pops and water, and I'm like,
couldn't
and he's a
believe
little dude, like he's not a big guy, and then hung out and talked to us for 45 minutes.
I
So it's not
thought-
like he went and purged behind the trailer.
I thought he would be sick. I'm like, there's
Yeah, he
no
just
way
hung
he
out.
can eat
It was
that
crazy.
much and not be sick. And then he got up and was like, oh no, I feel fine. It's
Yeah,
no problem.
it's crazy.
I've got another one of these tomorrow. And I said,
Yeah.
do you get sick later? And he's like, nope. I just don't eat anything else the rest
It
of
was
the day.
crazy. So we got a Sasquatch sandwich. It's probably like you're saying, kind of the culinary of everything. It's got a really good homemade bun. It's got brisket, pulled pork, ribs. You know what I mean? The slaw and mac and smoked mac and cheese and everything on it. Kind of all the meats.
And
Yeah,
that's fabulous. So I can find that on
Oh yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah, it's
We
ridiculous.
can make a special one for you.
Right? Might have to. Yeah.
No, I don't want. I don't want to eat that. I just want to go find.
Oh no, you'll want to eat.
Oh yeah, you can see that man. Yeah, model versus food.
Is a model versus
Yep,
food?
that's what he calls himself. And Big Lud's Barbecue.
And I will need to find out.
And it's a
where you guys are
video.
at.
Yeah, it's a video. And he ate it. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Obviously, you're not at Mesquite.
We
Day
No, we're
South.
up in
tell
St.
you,
George.
too, our food truck has been closed for a while because we've done.
God, we've had so much catering, we can't keep it on. But normally we're open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays in
the
the trailer.
manpower to do both.
But we've struggled to keep it open. Just the catering's so big. But normally we're right behind Napa at that barbecue pit stop. You know where that is? 185 north 300 east, kind of the middle of St. George. They sell smokers and grills. We're right in front of him.
Okay.
What you
Yeah.
need to do is just have a really big party and have us cater it.
There you go. Invite your favorite 1,200 friends, and we'll come and feed you.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. I'll see if I can get a grant from the
There you
Arts
go.
Council
Perfect.
to feed.
Oh,
maybe
shoot.
from Utah Arts Council.
That's funny. It's been good.
Well, guys, it's been 45 minutes.
That's crazy.
So I
It's
really
been fun.
enjoyed myself.
Thank you.
And
No.
thank you. So one last question. What's inspired you this week?
This week, what's inspired you this week? I got a marketing class that I teach first period, right? And they're great kids. And I let them pick, hey, what do you need to know in the future? Because we've talked about all different stuff. You're getting towards the end of the year. And so I let them each pick something that everybody else needed to know to succeed in life, right? Whether it's business, person, whatever. And then had them present that. So today, they shared that. And, dude, they killed it. I mean, they were so spot on, whether it was, investing or insurance or how to budget money or, whatever, how to have balance in your life. And it was inspiring. I was like, those little kids knocked it out of the park. You know what I mean? And then they all learned from each other. So they learned, a bunch of different things in one day from each other. And that was, to me, I was like, they did a good job.
So
you know
you're
what I
ready
mean?
to kick those kids loose and
about
you've
that.
got good feeling about them
Yeah.
making it.
Yeah. Yeah, being successful.
Well, I had two, but mine are much more minor than yours.
You got to pick the best one.
No,
You can-
I'm going to say
You can
both.
do, you can
Got 30 seconds. The show's
I can
over.
do that. One of my students who just communicates by, like, he'll just put his hand out sometimes or like he'll scratch if he's not very happy. But today I was talking to him and I didn't know he could do this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to tickle your feet. Give me your foot. I didn't know if he actually would. And he was just so cute, and he just put his foot up, and then he put his other foot up, and he was like, okay, this is really fun. And it was just so sweet, but so simple. And I'm like, okay, this is really fun, because I wasn't sure that he knew how to do that. And then I'm like, yay, I learned something new today. And that was awesome. Miss Helena was talking to me today during my prep, and she said, teachers are awesome, but don't forget to take care of yourself. You need to take time for yourself, and that's important. And she said, I can tell that you love the students, and you have this. She was so sweet. I guess that's why it was inspiration to me. But she just said, I can tell you love the students, but you give so much of yourself. Make sure you take a little bit of time to relax and meditate. And I thought, oh, that is really good
You
advice.
said Costa Rica, baby.
Very sweet.
Yeah, there you go. You'll
Very
be there
sweet
soon,
of
huh?
her. So anyway, people are awesome.
So,
Little angels everywhere.
well, you're in Tiffany. Thank you for coming in here.
No, it was a pleasure. It's fun to talk to you.
So, I've seen you guys about. I knew nothing about you, and now I do. And you guys are wonderful.
Well, thank you.
And thank you. And I've got
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Broadcasting from the Mesquite Works Steam Center in the scenic Mojave Desert, the Art Box sponsors thank you for listening. You can find us on Spotify, Samsung, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We are on Facebook and Instagram as The Art Box. We welcome all comments. You can email us at artboxvv@gmail.com. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of its hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of our sponsors.
Then I see the